could it actually be a mistake? Think about this. For every beautiful idea we have, a negative will present itself in equalness. Instead of having this be like right here, like, oh my gosh, you're like, no, I refuse. I cancel. I'm looking at the pen, like I'm looking at the highlighter. I'm looking at where I want to go. And it was a difference between what I was focused on and what I let worry and what I let go. Today, we are talking about worry. And it is a fact of life, right? We all have worry in our life. We all worry about things. Our ability to be able to get through worry and to be able to, for lack of better words, handle worry, to understand what it is, gets better as we understand what it is and how we can shift our worry from focusing on what we don't want to focusing on what we do want. So let me ask you this. Picture what you would like, what you want to be, what you want to have, and assume that everything is possible. Like, that's an incredible picture, right? But is there somewhere inside of you where doubt seems to creep up a little bit? And you're like, oh yeah, I love that idea, Kath, but is it really possible for me? And do you find yourself not feeling like that is possible for you? Or are you like, yes, all in. I see that. I know that's true for me. Remember that both our behaviors and our beliefs are stemmed from our behaviors and our feelings are stemmed from our beliefs. Our behaviors and our feelings are stemmed from our belief. And what is a belief? It's an idea that we got emotionally involved with, right? We connected with it. We are fascinated by it. Like right now, all that's going on the news, you may walk by the TV and find yourself fascinated by what's happening on the TV. And do you know that by actually sitting there and connecting in fascination to whatever it is you're watching or hearing is actually, you're accepting it subconsciously. So your subconscious can't reject the ideas, it accepts them. Your thinking mind can accept or reject, but your subconscious mind cannot. It agrees with anything you are emotionally connected with. And we're going to tie this back to worry, right? Because what is worry? It's something that we're emotionally connected to. It's the goal we're chasing after. It's this idea of something that we don't want, but yet it's continually showing up in our mind and in the forefront, and it becomes the idea that we're getting emotionally connected with. So to look at worry, we can ask ourselves a couple things. We can say, what is this worry based off of? Like, how do we get back that power? You can say, well, what is this worry based off of? Because how many of you find that you just sit there and stew in it like that? All of a sudden you get that negative thought. You're thinking something positive. You're thinking about the goal you want to get after, or maybe you need to take action today, or you want to grow your business, or maybe you're approaching your boss about a promotion. You know, you're thinking about doing something great in your life. You're thinking about doing something, and then all of a sudden the negative pops up. That's normal. That's the law of polarity. Okay. So with every negative, there is a positive. And so we're sitting there thinking about this beautiful thing we want, and then boom, all of a sudden the negative is present. But what do? We're here looking at this beautiful possibility, this beautiful opportunity, or, you know, the endlessness that is right there for us to seek. And then the negative shows up, right? And then we focus our attention on the negative. But we're so used to being in harmony with more negative than focusing on positive that we tend to draw to it. We're in harmony with it. So it all of a sudden becomes a sphere, like, oh no, that thought's there. And you become fascinated by it. Although you don't realize it, it's this fascination. And this thought keeps just ringing over and over and over in your head, and it grows. And the more you think of it, the more you're feeding it. The more you're feeding it, the more you're emotionally getting connected with it, and the more your vibrational energy is shifting. It's lowering your vibrational energy. And what happens with that? It starts demagnetizing us to the good that we want and starts magnetizing us to exactly what we don't want. At last, the thing he fears the most has come to dwell upon him. I think it's the quote from Job in the Bible. As a man thinketh, so shall he be. So this worry starts to consume us. So how do we kind of take back? How can we look at that and say, what do I do? Well, one is ask yourself some questions. Is this fact? Or is this just a worry? Like is it fact? Like literally set in stone. Right? So most people, when they think of, so say if you're in sales, when we think about connecting with people, we get these worries. What will they think? Oh no, they're going to reject me. And so we start worrying about this. Or if I do this, what if things don't work out? What if I go into debt? What if I lose my house? These are all things that I've heard from my clients, right? And I said, would you really ever lose your house? And they're like, no. In fact, they doubled their incomes. But the fear is there. It jumps up at them. So is it rational? Is it true? No. Could it actually be a mistake? Think about this. If for every beautiful idea we have, a negative will present itself in equalness. It's like saying, what do you want? This highlighter or this blue pen? You get to choose. The highlighter is the light we want to seek, and the blue pen is like, ooh, it's not what I want. But yet it's like we're so focused on this all the time. We're so worried. We're so focused on worried that's where we go all the time, rather than just saying enough of that and focus over here. Okay. Could it be a mistake? Absolutely. It's just presenting itself. I don't choose to believe in that because you have the ability to choose what you think. I want you to look at it from another person's perspective. I want you to take yourself out and be a third person and say, well, listen, if Catherine came to me and said, this is what I'm worried about, what would I tell her? Take yourself out of your own situation and say, what would I tell this person? Would I look at them and say, that's not going to happen. Stop worrying. You are more capable. You have more talent than you ever could possibly go after. You're going to be incredible at this. You can do this. What? Of course, that's not going to happen. Have you ever gotten your worries off your chest before, maybe to a spouse or a loved one, and you feel better? I know I have. In my past, I'd be like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? How are we going to do this? And then I speak it off my chest to my husband, and I'm like, oh, and what they speak back to me is, really? Really? Like all that was going on in your head? Because that's what we do. And then why should I continue to think this way? Why? Why should I continue to think that? Is this actually serving me? So ask yourself those 4 questions, because worry is what you're emotionally involved with. It is the picture that you want. Remember, you chose the blue pen. That's it. You were presented 2 options. You chose the blue pen. That's it. It is something that you're focused on that you want. It aroused a deep desire. And you may say, I don't want it, but you do because you keep thinking about it. You have to learn to say, no, no more. Because we dwell on it. We dwell on it. It grows. And it is what we live. It ends up being the thing that we live. We manifest it into our lives. That's the presence that come in. Enough thought, enough time spent dwelling on an emotional thought is what's going to exist. So for me, how I experienced this, what happened to me in this exact scenario was I was earning, I was in network marketing. Okay. So I had my business. It was incredibly successful. And then I had a very successful network marketing, and I was doing it on the sides, and I was earning a very comfortable 5 figures. Okay. In my network marketing as a side gig. And it was growing. And then all of a sudden, somewhere inside of me, I started to worry about, well, what if this doesn't last? What if I can't continue to grow this? And I didn't know about paradigms back then. I didn't know this was my paradigm pulling me back. And that's the difficult part. We think we can do these things on our own. So the paradigm's pulling me back and wants to bring me back to what I normally and currently earning, because I outshot what my self-image is used to earning. And all of a sudden these worries started happening. I'm getting more successful, but the more successful I was getting at it, the more, the closer I got to thinking, wow, could I actually like really go far with this? Then the more the worry popped up, the more I started to fear, what if it goes away? What if my sales start going backwards? What if I start losing my team? Oh no, my sales, I can't keep this up. I know this is just a fluke. And all of those things started to consume my thoughts. And the more those consumed my thoughts, what do you think happened? My sales went away. My sales started to drop. My confidence dropped. And then my thinking just said, see, I'm right. It was blue pen the whole time. It's blue pen. I just continued and continued to affirm the worry that presented itself, right? Rather than saying, oh my gosh, look at how incredible my growth has been. I'm going to continue with this. I'm just going to stay consistent. I'm going to keep moving towards the goal. I'm going to keep my eye on the prize and stop worrying about the outcome. I was dwelling on a negative picture, which manifested itself. Now I've done the exact opposite, where I've manifested dreams because I just kept my eye on the prize after I learned this material, after I learned how to do that through thinking into results. I manifested exactly what I'm doing right now, replacing my income, doing exactly what I love. And it was a difference between what I was focused on and what I let worry and what I let go, right? The more time we spend in worry, the more we're going to manifest it. And now for me, worry comes in and I'm on it. I am on it like a hound because I feel it. The vibrational shift in me is so present and I know what's happening. You have to be able to use your willpower. Sometimes to overcome worry does take willpower. It takes willpower to say no. No. One of Bob Proctor's ways that he helps combat that is by saying cancel. Cancel. It's like on a computer, you just cancel. Nope, cancel. And the more you affirm that, the more your paradigm is going to be like, okay, oh, what? No, oh, okay. And start getting in line with what you do want, right? We got to keep focused on the goal. And it's through repetition. It's the willpower of repeating the thought that you do want, even when we're faced with the blue pen. Instead of having this be like right here, like, oh my gosh, you're like, no, I refuse. I cancel. I'm looking at the pen. Like I'm looking at the highlighter. I'm looking at where I want to go. You got to create that thought habit. Thought habit. We are used to having habits in our life, but you're in the habitual programming of staying in worry, not in the habitual programming of keeping focused on manifesting a goal, manifesting the true thing that you want. This is not normal for us. We're not taught how to manifest. Truth. We are not taught how to manifest. We are not taught that our subconscious is a biggest magnet in our body, and whatever you believe in, it will attract to you. We are not taught that we are unlimited potential and that we could literally change our entire lives by changing our ability to think and use our perspectives, use our creative faculties, use our imagination to see what we do want rather than focusing on the results of our negative thinking. So there are 3 ways that I'm going to give you. Keep your eye on the prize. Your imagination can take you to what you do want, even when faced with uncomfortable situations that you don't want. This is where the learning really comes into play, right? This is where the difference between thinking positive and actually knowing how to do this, actually knowing how to imagine, live from the goal achieved, be there, see it, feel it, touch it, and have that show up for you. And be aware of when that vibrational shift starts to happen, that's just a reflection of, oh, it's happening. And when things aren't happening the way you want it, it's a reflection of, I'm emotionally connected with the wrong thing. I'm emotionally connected with fear, doubt, worry. You'll get so good at it. I'm going through thinking results. I've gotten so good at it that I'm starting to wake up to all these different thoughts that cross my mind. And I'm like, whoa, no, 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 no. And I instantly form a new belief. That's not what I want. And I choose what I want instead of being a victim to all these repetitious old doubts. So keep your eye on the prize and not so much on the doing. Right? We believe that our success is because we're doing things properly. It's a lie. Your success is because of the belief that you have inside that's magnetizing you to it, changing your vibration. Doing is just an action of it, it's a result of it. Get agitated. Think about this one. Get agitated. So there are two ways, actually, there's three, that you can change your paradigm. You can get emotionally involved with fascination, right? So I talked about that in the TV where you're just like, oh, you're fascinated by it. You're drawn to it like a moth to the flame. That's keeping our imagination on the goal. There's repetition, constant space. Repetition, nope, this is what I choose to believe in. And there's emotional impact, which is shock. And some people will change their beliefs just by an emotional shock. Maybe it's somebody saying to you, who do you think you are? You can't do that. And you're like, you know what? It's enough fire in the belly to say, I've got this. Because there's countless stories of people who rose to the occasion when they were up against the wall, their backs up against the wall. They get agitated. But you know what? I don't want you to go agitated. I want you to do this through a positive shift, not one of negative shift. And then I want you to go back up to the questions that I asked you before. You know, ask yourself, you know, is this what you want? Is this what I really want? Is it a rational way of thinking? Could it be a mistake? Would I assume that of somebody else if they told me this? And should I continue thinking this way? These are all ways you can break your worry. And the biggest one I do is just say, cancel. No, cancel. And immediately go to what it is I do want. And if a negative thought just whispers across my mind, I say, no, cancel. This is what I want. And I instantly push the thought through my mind of what it is I do want. No, this. I choose the highlighter. I hope this was a good illustration for you guys. I hope you can kind of understand how coming through this worry you can get through it. You just have to use your mental willpower. You have to understand that you're just emotionally involved with something and you have to choose something different. This is Catherine Arkema. Thank you for joining me today. And I'll see you back next Wednesday where we discuss something else to move you further along in your manifestations. If you would love to book a free consultation call with me, I'll post the calendar down in the links below and we can have a chat about where you're stuck and how to uncover that stuckness and get from where you are to where you want to be by truly manifesting what you want in your life, whether that's health, whether that's financial freedom, whether that's love. All of it's in. All right. Bye for now.